It's about influencing your environment to create the reality that you want. That's how powerful XI influence is. So how do you do influence right? And again, we'll turn this into an experiential learning process. Let's take a deep breath in and just notice, and there's different levels of influence that I'll go through, by the way, and where you want to be, okay? Is notice your upper back, okay? Notice your upper spine, notice your upper back, okay? Notice your top of your spine. And as you pay attention to this, I'm going to break away and create a side note on how effective, say, your influence and your affluence is. Okay? So when you've done, or when you started to do XI, Exponential Intelligence, you notice that as you've changed dramatically, right, your family changes, your spouses change, the people around you change, people treat you differently, right? The coffee person changes or influences or is influenced to treat you differently. That's the kind of influence that I'm talking about. Why does that happen? Because the essence, your presence of who you are is changing or has changed. Your genetics, your genome has changed. What you're sending out into your reality has changed. It's not about just influencing others. It's about influencing your environment to create the reality that you want. That's how powerful XI influence is. It's got nothing to do with going, well, I want to influence this individual because I want them to sign that contract, sign on that dotted line. It's got nothing to do with that, although they will sign on that dotted line a lot easier. I've helped a ton of top-level CEOs, again, help influence their supply chain, other competitors, or whoever that they need to, again, have a contract signed. So take a deep breath in. So a couple different avenues. So why does that happen? So if you use psychology, for example, right, you're changing your internal state. It doesn't change the frequencies that you're sending out. Okay? Say, for example, that if you've ever noticed, and I'll make it very simple for you, if you've ever noticed that people treat you the same way no matter where you go, right? That makes sense to you. That's pretty clear to you, right? No matter where you go, say that, you have bad luck, right? Or you have good luck, whatever it is. Or things just happen for you naturally to, go along the way. Again, those are programmings that you have. So you walk into a situation and you're running a program that, well, things always work out for me. If you've ever noticed that, right? Or things always never work out for me. Or I have bad luck. And like you go into a situation, it's like, shit, things never work out. Again, you're influencing that situation because of the frequencies that you're sending out. Think of it. Why does that always happen to you? It's not just random coincidence. You're not just attracting those individuals. You're influencing those people. So those individuals, say that you run abusive patterns, right? You always get, say, you always attract somebody that, say, you can't trust. Even the most trustworthy person, they connect with you. And then at some level, you will experience, say, mistrust on that person that would never, say, lie. Okay? Why does that happen? Or you go to a foreign country, you don't even speak the language, and you get treated the same way, right? Same expectation. They either work out for you if you're running that program, or things don't work out for you, right? Bad luck Sally, for example. Again, no matter where she goes, if she gets abducted, she goes to Mars, bad luck Sally. That'll follow her because, again, she's influencing her environment. She's influencing other people to treat you in that respect. So what XI does, again, this is why XI is so very different than psychology, because with psychology, motivation, leadership skills, mentorship skills, and all those things that people do to become successful or happy, you're just influencing yourself. And you're not even doing a very good job because you can't even influence yourself to change so dramatically that you operate from, say, a success mechanism. Say that you are just, a dynamo. You're a happy individual, right? You have to psych yourself up every freaking morning, right? You have to have your morning routine, right? You're influencing yourself to have that morning routine to go, I am this person. You can't even go deep enough to go, shit, you're not that person. Does that make sense? You don't make the changes at a deep level. You aren't that person. You're just faking it, or you're influencing yourself to be that person that you think you should be to be a successful individual. But people see through that, and that's why influence doesn't work. And then when that doesn't work, you have to start coercing people. You have to show your title to them. It's like you have to show your bank book. Well, I made $1 billion, and that's why I need to influence you, or I have the authority or the right to influence you to do X, Y, or Z. Okay? That's not the kind of influence. Again, it doesn't last long for you. And again, this is where you become a dictatorship or somebody that destroys people for more and more, say, control. Okay? So take a deep breath in again. Again, that's the wrong type of influence that you want. So psychology, again, motivation, success, titles or letters behind your name, those are all, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's what you're using to influence people, it's very rudimentary, it's very superficial. And that's why even if you are, say, the most intelligent individual, or you're a very, say, competent surgeon or doctor, but you don't have the right essence, your surgeries will fail. The benefits to your patients or clients, if you're a lawyer or, again, a motivator, those things won't, it'll only go surface deep, because you're only surface deep. Your knowledge, right, didn't get to the point that it didn't even change you. So how can you change others if it didn't even change you? Right? That's the key. What you want to do, again, the real influence that is there for you is like, we have to start to understand or start to change yourself. This is where great leaders, they walk into a room, you don't even know who the hell they are. And you go, oh shit, who is that guy? Right? They have that air to them. They can walk into a boardroom. They don't have to be dressed in any way. And then what do? They command that boardroom. And they don't know anything about that person. I've actually been there. Actually, that's me. I command the boardroom. And there are high-level influencers, billionaires in that group. But who influences them? Who do they follow? They follow me. Why? The reason is because I am more, say, consistent in space-time. That's how real influence, and I know it sounds crazy, it's like space-time. Yes, the more present you are, the more influence you own. That's what people are looking at. Okay? So when you go through XI, right, and the reason why people change around you is because you know yourself at such a deep level. You're so ever present within your being that, one, you don't get shaken. You don't observe other people and you go, oh, I should be like them, or I should make them happy, or I should influence them in another way. You don't care, because you know who you are. Okay? You know, you have deeper knowledge as well on whatever that you are professing or whatever that you're talking about. Again, it comes from a deeper understanding of who you are. And you don't even have to say anything. Your presence is enough for you to influence that individual. Again, those individuals who have or have gone through XI, right, and have, say, elevated themselves, have you noticed that your kids naturally change to be better kids? Your spouse naturally changes. Now, a lot of times, again, it depends on them if they want to go towards the direction that you want to go, or they might go against you. And that's where you, again, clarify or clear up those people that shouldn't be around you. Simple as that. So that's real influence. Again, so your cellular structure changes, your genetic makeup changes, the frequencies that you're sending out changes. And then as you influence your environment changes to be at a higher level. So that's true influence. Again, against very, very different than psychology, where your internal self changes. Okay? Take a deep breath in. When you can influence at this level, people want to follow you naturally. Again, it's not about coercion. People really want to follow you just naturally, because it's not what you have that they want. And that's why most people influence people. And that's another thing as well. And people will shy away or stay away from that, or they will get scared of you. Okay? Is what that happens is like, shit, I want what they have. So you influence them to give you what they have. Okay? Over time, you can only take so much. And then over time, right, people will distrust you. This is where governments topple over. This is where companies topple over. This is where families topple over. No matter what it is, even your personal identity, right? If you're always grabbing somebody else's identity, you always will topple over. It never works out. And you always have to influence more and more and more. And like I said, this is where you become, say, a tyrannical leader, where you're always controlling, you're always influencing, you're always demanding that you know everything about whoever you're controlling. Again, whether it's a government, a corporation, a culture, a family, or say just you and your spouse, or you and a partner. Does that sound familiar to you? Have you noticed that we've gotten more and more control? And you go, well, it's because we need more safety. We need to know everything about you. Fuck that. It's not about that. It's just because, again, you need more and more influence. That distorted way of influencing people or controlling people, that's why. It always turns into, again, a dictatorship. So, and that's what we're headed to, by the way, until people break apart. So let's take a deep breath in. So how do you influence people? One, you never take away what they have, because what they have will never satisfy or complete you. You never, ever, ever do that. Most people, again, you can copy what they have, okay? And it's not like, oh, they have a new, I don't know, Lamborghini, I want that Lamborghini, right? You never want to do that. It's like, but what you want to ask is like, well, what frequencies did they create? What was it in them that allowed that Lamborghini to be attracted into them? Okay? So that's using influence to help, say, that person that is successful in any respect, whether it's a Lamborghini or whether it's a great relationship or whatever, right? What they're doing is they're sending out frequencies. What you're doing is you're observing those specific frequencies that you're sending out that got them that Lamborghini, that got them that hot, I don't know, spouse that they have, right? You don't want what they have, but you want that to duplicate the frequencies that they're resonating to, again, get what you want. Okay? So you're not influencing them in any way. What you're doing is like you're copying, because they've already created those frequencies for you. So it's easier for you to become successful. Right? So you don't have to destroy. And in this reality or in this consciousness, what you're doing is that you're literally, since it's a consciousness of lack or control, okay, and sacrifice, most people go when they influence. And again, this is a lot of business situations and even marital situations. What do I have to sacrifice? What do I have to give up to influence that person to stay with me, to sign that contract, to do whatever that they do with me? Again, it's always an exchange. It's always a sacrifice. In the XI influence, it's never that way, because you're not taking what they want or what they have. What you are doing is like, what is it in them? Okay? What attractive quality that they have that's allowing their lifestyle to be the way they do, or whatever that they have, right? You copy that frequency and run it in you. And you become more and more influential, by the way. Okay? And I'll give you some real life examples. Again, many of you have said, again, it's like, Mas, it's amazing that my kids are much more normal. They're much more healthy as I've changed. And they didn't do the XI, they didn't do the meditations or anything like that. Again, the reason why is because you are resonating out a more solid identity of who you are. So you're a closer version to your optimal version. Okay? You're not all fucked up and you're not all broken or anything like that. Again, you're a closer version to that identity that you should be, or that inner being that you are, or that limitless self that you are. So they start to see, again, your kids or your spouse or whoever, they start to see that you're getting closer and closer to who you are. And that's what really excites them. Okay? So you're influencing them, not to have what you want, but you're influencing them to be their grander version. When you can do that, people will follow you. People will do anything, literally do anything. I have a lot of great individuals like, Mom, you've helped me so much, find myself. If you need anything, let me know, brother. I'll do whatever that you need, okay? And again, they're lending out. I don't have to coerce them. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to control them. You see so many other, motivational speakers out there. You shouldn't listen to this, or you shouldn't listen to that, or you should, and again, they don't, because they're afraid. There's so many religions. Don't do that, don't do that, don't listen to them, because they're afraid of losing you, right? Governments do that as well. Communism does that to the democracy. Democracy does that to communism. You don't have to do that. If you provide what people are really looking for, you can influence in the proper way. And then again, it's less costly that way. They benefit and expand into their grander version. And if you can help people, again, like I said, expand into that grander version, well, they'll follow you till the ends of the earth. That's where a Jesus frequency did. That's where a Buddha frequency, a Muhammad frequency, or any of those great leaders that are out there, business leaders and all that, people followed them, right? So you want to do it properly. One example I want to give is, who's the guy, who's Playboy? Hugh Hefner. Right? He had great influence over those beautiful women, but he really fucked up. Again, I was kind of impressed with him, but then the way he, say, controlled those women, right? They had to be the same blonde color, okay? Again, breaking their identity. They had to have similar body shapes. They had to force them to, say, sleep with him at least, say, once a month. And I know all this because I work on people who've been Playboy Bunnies and all that. So all these regulations for you to be a Playboy, you have to do this, 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 right? And again, could he have done it a better way? Of course he can. There's this other guy, this new guy, the gambler guy, Dan Bazarian or something like that. Again, you look at his videos and he's got all those women, the epitome of success or the epitome of happiness, and every freaking video I see in him, he's fucking dead inside. He's got all these beautiful women and he's just like more annoyed than happy. Every video that I've seen. Again, I'm sure there's outtakes in there that he's just like happy and having fun. But the outtakes, you see the outtakes? It's like, fuck. It's like, this isn't happiness. So again, you want to influence people, right? And I don't know why I'm talking about this, but that's an impactful, I think it's an impactful example. So Hugh Hefner doing it right. Right? So beautiful women, right? You want to have beautiful women around you, which is totally fine. This is totally fantastic. What you want to do is build the beauty within each woman. You want to build that identity that they all have, that uniqueness that they all have. You don't want to have them, the exact same body, the exact same, say, bleach blonde color, whatever it might be. You want to, again, create that greatness in them. You want to help them flourish. You want to bring out their best, beautiful identity. Okay? They're beautiful women on the outside anyway. They're going to be beautiful on the inside. Okay? And then you don't have to force them to have sex with you, Hugh. If you were around, they would love to have sex with you because what you brought them, their internal self. So giving, say, a piece of their physical form to you as a gratitude or a thank, it's not a big deal. And again, that sex or that intimacy doesn't destroy you if you're still around, if you were still around, or it doesn't destroy them. It doesn't degrade the women in any way as well. Okay? Again, because you allowed them to elevate yourself to a much, much higher standard. You allowed them to elevate themselves to a higher standard. And you allowed them to not only have, the beauty of their body and their face, but intelligence. You could send them to school and really help them, say, cultivate or motivate, what the true beauty of, say, of a woman would be, not just their body. So again, elevating society or elevating consciousness to help women, say, ascend higher. not to help women or like destroy women. Again, that's what true influence is. And that you might go, well, that's a far off example, but look at yourself as a CEO. Are you doing that? Are you destroying others, again, to control them? Are you destroying others or to control, so it makes it easier for you to manage people? Look at yourself as a political leader. Are you destroying your followers, right? Are you going, that person, that identity is bad, this is good? Are you destroying them to, again, follow you? Are you brainwashing them? Look at your religions. Are you destroying, again, your congregation for you to follow them, or are you uplifting them, or are you putting them in fear? Look at all the different scenarios. Just another version of Hugh Hefner. Okay? You're basically, say, raping those your followers. Again, and I know it sounds rough, but that's what you're doing. Again, you're raping their physical or their spiritual identity when you influence improperly. So you want to do it right, and the way to do it right is you become your best possible version of who you are. Right? It's got nothing to do with influencing others. You influence yourself to be the best possible version. And what that means is you wake up in the morning being your best possible version without having your morning routine. Right? Nothing like that. You just are the way you are. You're just like, bam, snap on. You wake up with that identity. And then you do have a morning routine to psych you up even higher. Okay? You're not like you're in the doldrums and it's like, fuck, I'm a fucked up mess. You know, I've got addictions, I've got this, I've got that. I'm going to psych myself up to be looking like a normal, successful CEO. Nope. Your internal self is successful right here. And then if you want, you can psych yourself up to even go higher. And then even higher, even higher. But what most people do is like, fuck, every morning they drop down to their worst possible state. Okay? Your worst possible state should be the elevated state that you've come into when you motivate yourself each and every morning. And that's how you, becoming a strong leader, can influence whoever you're leading. All right. So if this podcast hurt you or touched someplace in you, again, don't question me, question yourself. Okay? Hopefully that helped. Again, as we end, notice what you notice, and then notice those details and influence properly.